the new movie sequel to the Raiders of the Lost Ark opens. It's entitled Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Well, this morning we begin a week-long series of exclusive interviews in that film with the film's director, Steven Spielberg, its stars, Harrison Ford and Kate Capshaw, and its Oscar-winning composer, John Williams. We lead off today with Steven Spielberg in Paramount's screening room, where Gene Shalit asked if this will be the last of the Raiders series.
No, I don't think it will be the last of the Raiders series. I know that, you know, George and I have a few, we have a few more tricks up our sleeve, and there's, I'm sure, going to be another Indiana Jones movie. We had initially blueprinted 3 Indiana Jones adventures. These aren't sequels, these are further adventures.
How did you come up with the story for this picture? Did you sit around a table and just talk wildly, or did you each sit at a typewriter and write these scenes?
Well, George Lucas came up with the basic story, as he did the first movie, and all of us sat, I think, out in a room together in San Anselmo for about a week, and we all talked out loud and pitched ideas and canceled ideas and embraced ideas and said, gee, that's great, who thought of it? We all took credit for ideas that everybody else thought of if they were good, and we blamed the other person if the idea was terrible. And we had a great time, and it was like seeing the movie as we made it up. It was a rather kinetic session of 4 people sitting around a table trying to make an exciting follow-up to Raiders of the Lost Ark.
It seems to me that you all painted yourself into a corner, and then you challenged yourself to see how could you get out of that corner without stepping in the paint.
A couple times in this movie, we painted ourselves in the corners, and you can see our wet footprints, right out the room where we couldn't get out of that corner. Some of the corners are impossible to get out, but none of us have ever, faced the fact that anything about Indiana Jones's character or his adventures are purely realistic. There's a logic that functions under all of the scenes. It's not a Warner Brothers Looney Tune. This isn't, a Roadrunner Coyote cartoon where the illogical is suddenly logical. But we're real careful to say, if it's fun, and if the audience will have a good time with this idea, but it probably wouldn't happen to the average person in real life, let's do it anyway.
As an example, you have Harrison Ford and Kate Capshaw in an airplane flying over some Oriental mountains, and they wake up in the back of the plane and find out that the 2 pilots have parachuted out. They're alone in a plane that's not being driven. How do you get people out of a spot like that?
Mister, wake up, please. You call him Dr. Jones, dog. Okay, Dr. Jones, oh, wake up, please.
You there already? Oh, good.
No.
Huh?
No one's flying the plane.
Oh, boy.
They're all gone. You know how to fly, don't you?
No. Do you?
Oh, no.
How hard can it be?
I'm in pain.
Altimeter. Okay.
Oh,
Airspeed. Okay. Fuel. 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 I think we got a big problem.
You then create the most absurd escape from 10,000 feet that anybody ever had. Did it just come to you in a flash?
Yeah, actually, that came to me in a flash in the writing of the first movie, in the writing of Raiders of the Lost Ark. That was actually an idea that we had in the telling of the first picture, but I couldn't find a place for it in the first movie, so I kept it in my imagination for a couple of years and wrote a scene around that idea.
Do you think you're going to be criticized for some of the violence in Indiana Jones?
Probably the same amount of critics that talked about the violence in Raiders of the Lost Ark, of which there was considerable. But the violence isn't realistic violence. It's not the kind of violence that you can go out and perform on your friends or neighbors. It's not imitative violence. It's movie fantasy violence. I mean, you can say, yes, these people are human beings and things happen, and when they get killed, they die, and they don't get back up again, so it certainly isn't a cartoon. There's that valid argument. By the same token, the entire movie is an adventure of the imagination. It's not an adventure of the streets at all. And I really distinguish that kind of violence from the violence, say, in a film like Taxi Driver. That's two different genres and approaches to violence in the cinema. So I don't really believe that Indiana Jones or Raiders Lost Ark, that matter, are inherently movies about violence, man-on-man violence.
Stephen, you think some of this movie is too scary for young children, say under 10?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think there are sections of Raiders Lost Ark that terrified young children. I do think, though, there are portions of this picture, especially about 20 minutes in the middle of the picture, that I wouldn't allow my 10-year-old kids or under 10-year-old children to see if I had under 10-year-old children. That's my personal responsibility as a erstwhile adult. I would just put an embargo on that part of the movie. Or if I wanted to see it and I had to bring them along, I'd go like this and hold their eyes, and they could struggle to pull my hand down, you know, for the time spent on the screen. But the movie really is a roller coaster ride, and as in all roller coaster rides, there's times that all of us want to, you know. So we'll have to see what happens.
Tomorrow, when Spielberg continues his only TV interview this year, he discloses how the movie's plot was conceived and reveals his surprising view of his all-time hit, E.T.